All right, thanks for being with us here on Atlanta News First Plus. I want to let you know that in just a few moments, First Alert Meteorologist Cutter Martin is going to have your full First Alert forecast. And we have been watching temperatures that have been plummeting. Snow for some people as well could be on the way. You know, Georgia Department of Transportation has been brining roads ahead of the possible snow and ice and this big drop in temperatures. We're going to have much more on that ahead. But the timing is, you know, it's a little bit precarious because of everything that is happening here in Atlanta on Monday. And right now, there are already festivities underway as kind of a lead up to the college football playoff national championship game on Monday night here in Atlanta. So it's day 2 now of the festivities leading up to that big event. The second AT&T Playoff Playlist live concert is tonight inside State Farm Arena. So obviously you're going to see some big crowds there. Maybe you're going to be part of the crowds. You're going to expect to see some traffic around that as well. Camila Cabello, Miles Smith, and Knox taking the stage. And you can see just a lot of hype leading up to tomorrow's big event. Let's listen.
Food, football, fun. Kane Brown's going to do a concert. So all these things are before the game ever starts. We hope we wear people out with excitement and football fun.
Yeah, and the doors open at 6 p.m. before the actual concert starts at 7 o'clock tonight. And obviously, it is also Martin Luther King Jr. Day tomorrow as well. And there are so many ways that you can honor the life and legacy of the late civil rights icon. Atlanta News First Blake Devine has more outside Ebenezer Baptist Church in the Sweet Auburn neighborhood with what folks can look forward to and participate in.
There have been MLK events all weekend long with many more on Monday, including a special service right here inside the historic Ebenezer Baptist Church, which is the same spot that Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his first sermon way back in 1947.
To have this opportunity to come out and express the memory of all his dedication and hard work, it means a lot.
Joya Neal was one of many who marched in the NAACP DeKalb County Branch's 23rd annual Martin Luther King Jr. Parade. Samin Alam is a band member at Cross Keys High School who shared how MLK has impacted his life.
It's about the diversity. It's about the inclusion. The school that I go to, we're almost 90% Hispanic. Myself, my parents are from Bangladesh. So it's about just being able to do this.
This weekend was full of festivities, including a gospel celebration Sunday in the Ebenezer Baptist Church. This followed a day of service on Saturday in Atlanta's West End neighborhood.
Because I have a dream.
This year, MLK Day and the presidential inauguration will take place on the same day for the first time since 1997. We asked Dr. King's youngest daughter, Bernice, what she hopes people will remember on Monday.
I know we're inaugurating a new administration, but don't forget Dr. King. Don't forget that they showed us that it is possible to keep moving forward and fighting for freedom, justice, and democracy, cultivating it, protecting it, and advancing it.
Monday, there's also an MLK Day 5K drum run in Doraville, Morehouse College Day of Service, interactive exhibits inside the Children's Museum of Atlanta, along with several other events. We caught up with DeKalb County Super District 7 Commissioner Ladina Bolton, who explained what this weekend means to her.
To see all the folks excited about change that was projected back in the 60s, and now we're looking forward to seeing it in 2025.
Bernice King will be in attendance here at the Ebenezer Baptist Church Monday morning for the commemorative service. Reporting in the Sweet Auburn neighborhood, Blake Devine, Atlanta News First.
And some positive news to share about former Atlanta mayor and civil rights icon Andrew Young, a source close to the family telling Atlanta News First he was released from Grady Memorial Hospital yesterday. The former UN ambassador was admitted Friday as a precaution because of light chest pains. He's 92 years old. He's been very busy doing multiple interviews and, of course, delivering the homily at former President Jimmy Carter's funeral. So certainly some welcome news that he's out of the hospital and appears to be doing better. Okay, also, we have been following what is happening in the Middle East as well. And just transitioning to that story now, 3 hostages released from Gaza are now in Israel. And it's really the first test of a fragile ceasefire with Hamas. Israel is expected to release around 90 Palestinian prisoners as well. The ceasefire certainly raises some hopes for an end to the devastating 15-month war. A gradual release of 33 hostages over the next 6 weeks has been agreed on. In exchange, Israel has agreed to release almost 2,000 Palestinian prisoners and Palestinians from Gaza who have also been detained as well. We're going to keep following the latest. Okay, let's talk about what's happening with TikTok. TikTok says it is restoring service to users here in the United States just hours after the popular video sharing platform went dark in response to a federal ban. The announcement on X came after President-elect Donald Trump said today that he planned to pause the ban by executive order on his first day in office. Obviously, inauguration is tomorrow. And Mr. Trump said that the order would give TikTok's China-based parent company more time to find an approved buyer. Millions of American TikTok users were unable to access the TikTok app and platform starting late last night. You remember we brought you that as breaking news when it happened. A law that took effect today required the Beijing-based ByteDance to cut ties with TikTok's U.S. operations due to national security concerns. So we're going to have to watch this one. All right, let's talk about that forecast that has been on everyone's mind. And First Alert Meteorologist Cutter Martin, you know, he's been following the possibility of snow and ice in a lot of areas. And obviously, we've been talking a lot about the extreme drop in temperatures. I definitely could feel temperatures plummet throughout the day, Cutter, and it's kind of a shock to the system.
Yeah, already plummeting. We were in the mid-50s yesterday, right now mid-30s, and the tumble continues. We will not be in the mid-30s for much longer. Again, it is a very cold afternoon across North Georgia and Metro Atlanta, and it is only going to get colder. You're looking at current temperatures right now. Hartsfield, Jackson, 36, already below freezing. Ellijay, 31, Carrollton, 33, Rome. So cold and getting colder. Just keep that in mind. Let's see, Carol, this weekend in Metro Atlanta will be cold. Okay, we're chatting with folks on YouTube. All right, we're back. We're here. So a reminder that we will continue to, and what I was just doing is reading those questions, kind of getting ahead of myself there, coming in to the YouTube account. Atlanta News First is the account that we are streaming on right now. Again, I am First Alert Meteorologist Cutter Martin with a live look outside, and back to that forecast here in just a moment. You can see those clouds actually producing some snow flurries and sleet pellets and sprinkles across Metro Atlanta. Carol Cole saying this week in Metro Atlanta will be cold but clear except for Tuesday PM. We will have some snow showers. Our own meteorologist streaming right now on Atlanta News First Plus. And again, it is going to continue to get cold. And yes, that chance of snow is in the forecast on Tuesday. Saying we know the temperature, we need the weather like radar and forecast. Well, we're getting to that, and part of the forecast is what's happening outside right now, because that is going to tell us what will happen through the rest of the evening. Case in point, temperatures now colder than what some of the forecast models were indicating. So we have to take a look at current conditions there in order to get a more defined look and a more confident look at how the next 24 hours will unfold. Will we get snow on Tuesday? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Folks obviously are wanting to get right to it, and yes, there is a chance of snow Tuesday, and there will continue to be a chance of snow likely in the forecast, so not everyone is going to see snow. That is probably the trickiest part of this setup. Parts of North Georgia are going to see snow. Other parts are going to, unfortunately, be cold, but also remain dry. Infield FC asking about snow in Gwinnett. Okay, we're going to go ahead and slide into the forecast. Again, First Alert weather days, Monday and Tuesday. We have to talk about the bitter cold, too, not just the fact that it is going to potentially snow in parts of the area. In fact, not just potentially, it will snow in parts of North Georgia. And the further north and west you go, the same trend holds that we discussed yesterday, the harder it is going to be for you to see snow. Case in point, hour-by-hour forecast starting now. Forecast model not showing anything over Metro Atlanta, but we have many, many reports of flurries outside this afternoon, and I even myself have seen some flurries. Well, you know what? We have some Trump said on YouTube as having quite the comment field day. So let's get to it. Well, you know, there are plenty of streams out there if you need to go to another stream. We totally understand, but we're going to get to it. But we need to lay out all the pieces. That is part of the forecast. Can't just give you a number right now. Can't just say you're going to see this area is going to see that. It's an exceptionally complicated forecast, and that's the benefit of a stream like this, Atlanta News First Plus, where you can get more details about the forecast and not just be given a number, and then maybe that number doesn't come to fruition, and then you wonder why. There's a lot to talk about here. It's a complicated setup. Kendall Grace Hunter, how much snow will we get? How much snow will we get in Atlanta? I cannot tell you how much we're going to get with any exact neighborhood by neighborhood look as it is right now, but we'll roll through the forecast. People want to know if it's going to snow. Not triggered, but being honest, this is the forecast. We have to give you all the pieces. That's just what we do. We have to give you all the pieces because what's happening now is going to affect what is happening later. And a lot of people are concerned about the cold. We're waking up to temperatures Martin Luther King Jr. Day morning in the single digits and in the teens, and it'll feel like it is below zero. That's something we're all going to feel. We're not all going to see significant snow. We're not all going to see accumulating snow, but we will all have dangerously cold weather tomorrow morning. So we do have to talk about that portion of the forecast. Infield FC, how will the weather be for the college football championship? And we do have some folks that are interested about Monday. Of course, that game is happening at the Bend. If you have any morning plans, maybe you are headed out. Notre Dame and Ohio State, you are headed to the game. Or if you have any errands to run, or no, it's not a huge tailgating event necessarily, just because we don't have a local team involved. But anything like that in the morning, it is going to be dangerously cold. Actual temperatures in the teens, wind chills close to zero, North Metro back below zero. Algernon saying it is very cold outside today. It absolutely is, and it's going to be even colder tonight into tomorrow. Marjorie asking if it's possible we will get snow in Sandy Springs. Yes, it is possible. Not a certainty, but it is possible. And we'll kind of roll through in the First Alert forecast. Again, noon Monday, we're still dry. First Alert weather day because it is brutally cold. Noontime temperatures still in the low to mid-20s. And with the wind blowing, it is feeling like it is in the teens. So it's going to be a very, very cold day across North Georgia, Metro Atlanta tomorrow. It will be dangerously cold in the morning, and it will be miserably, uncomfortably cold throughout the entirety of the day. These are not wind chill temperatures. These are actual temperatures. We do have an extreme cold warning in effect northwest side of town and a cold weather advisory in effect southeast side of the metro through tomorrow morning. Really not going expiring, should say, until noon. So 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. 28 in Atlanta. You know, this forecast model is even colder than some of our others. It's possible we could stay just below freezing. However, I think many of us in the core of the city will get up to about 32, 33 or so. Will it snow? Paulette Richards, will it snow in Calhoun? Going that far north, it's going to be unlikely you see significant snow. You may see some snowflakes, but unlikely you will see some significant snow. Was a part of making Sandy Springs when that happened. It was not always a city. Fun facts. Yeah, definitely folks talking about how much our area has grown, and that's absolutely true. And you can see signs of that in Sandy Springs with parts of the area, you know, old cemeteries dating back to the 1800s right next to newly developed neighborhoods. Infield FC, will this melt faster than last weekend? No. If you see accumulating snow, it's going to be on the ground for a bit. It's going to take a while for it to completely go away just because it is so cold across North Georgia. Algernon Middlebrook saying, got alert on my phone under extreme cold warning. Absolutely, and that's because of the combination of the wind and the cold. So we're up until 5 p.m. Monday. Tomorrow, no snow. It's going to be brutally cold, but it will also be sunny across North Georgia and Metro Atlanta. I want to show you those alerts, though, really quickly before we get into the risk of snow Tuesday. Brutally cold is something that will affect everybody. Not everyone is going to see accumulating snow. Everyone is going to be dealing with brutally cold weather tomorrow. First Alert weather day because of that cold. So extreme cold warning, including the city of Atlanta, wind chill values, -4 to about 0. Some of our mountain communities could have, -5, -6, -7 degree, below 0 wind chills. The Max Velocity on YouTube has a Bad to the Bone weather channel. Always here to support other weather folks, other weather-inclined people. This one is North Georgia, Little Metro Atlanta, City of Atlanta-centric. If you do have any weather questions, comments, concerns, though, even outside of North Georgia, we are here to offer our expertise and give you the forecast. But again, lots of streamers out there, but we're focusing in on the next 24, 48 hours, the City of Atlanta and North Georgia for sure. Ashley, oh, did you just say it will snow in Jonesboro? I just joined. Snow is possible. We'll kind of get to that hour-by-hour forecast, and I want everybody to try to go into this system with a very rational frame of mind, because it is going to be a complicated setup, and there are going to be some winners if you like snow and some losers if you like snow. Some folks are going to get the snow and others are not. It's going to be, unfortunately, we don't control the weather. We're just the messenger. It's going to be a very sharp gradient across the metro between who sees snow and who doesn't. Moral of the story tomorrow, dangerously cold in the morning, miserably cold in the afternoon. Extreme cold warning, cold weather advisories in effect until about noon. Not a warm afternoon by any stretch of the imagination, but the real dangerous cold is going to be in the morning time. Tuesday morning, so this is the day with a chance of snow. Tuesday morning is going to be dry. Out the door. Morning commute, okay. May even have some sunshine. And then things will change as we get into the afternoon and the evening. Should I stay home from work? That's up to you and your employer. We'll have to see how conditions evolve over the next 24 to 48 hours. Algernon, is it possible school closings Tuesday and Wednesday because of the winter storm? It is possible. It is possible. We'll have to see exactly how this evolves from the next 24 36 hours. Infield FC, watch February. We are going to get spring weather. Yeah, we should have a little bit of a warm-up as we get into the weekend. And then Max Velocity Severe Weather Center on YouTube, very accurate. Thank you. And again, they are accurate as well, but we have a closer look at North Georgia and at Metro Atlanta, and that's kind of the focus of this stream. So if you do have, interests elsewhere, definitely that is another stream that you can go watch. Ted Franklin, worst case scenario, 6 inches south of Atlanta, Griffin north-south. Let's go ahead and get to it. I would say it's unlikely that Griffin is going to see 6 inches of snow. So through noon Tuesday, we are dry, we are cold. Temperature still, according to this forecast model, below freezing. We're going to try, though, some of us try, especially along and south of I-20, to get above freezing initially Tuesday. And then as this precip, snow, moves in, temperature is likely to fall once again. Here we are, 3, 4, 5 p.m. Tuesday. How bad will it be in Murrow, Georgia? Again, we don't know with any certainty just yet exactly what you're going to see. I would say down in Clayton County, there is a chance for about up to an inch of snow or so down in Clayton County, south side. Algernon saying higher snow totals from Atlanta on south. Yeah, that's been the messaging for about 24 hours now. Nothing has changed with that. But again, this is 4 o'clock Tuesday afternoon, not snowing in Marietta. It's snowing in Atlanta, and it's coming down pretty decently down in Thomaston. Not snowing in Dawsonville, coming down decently down in Covington. It could not be snowing in Northwest Cobb and be snowing in South Cobb. And it could be like that for a couple of hours. It's a very sharp gradient. So we're going to have to watch this one. In fact, this one is even more, this weather setup, this storm system is even more uncertain than what we had about 10 days ago. Let's see. Ray TG, how bad will it get in Murrow? Okay, we talked about Murrow. Higher snow total from Atlanta on south. Got that in. Thank you. Allegedly, maybe. I support all meteorologists. Thanks for tuning in and for watching. Let's see. Will there be freezing rain? No, this is going to be pure snow. It's either snow or nothing. For North Georgia, it's going to be either snow or nothing. So that is a part of the forecast that we're confident in, and a part of the forecast that we are more certain about. Snow or nothing. It's not going to be freezing rain and sleet, either snow or you are cold and you are dry. Algernon asking if Atlanta is going to have a winter storm warning again. We're under a winter storm watch right now, and that easily could be upgraded to a winter storm warning. Again, winter storm watch, that's a good point, good question. In effect, for all of Metro Atlanta, at least the immediate metro, generally along the I-85 corridor and points south and east, where that chance of getting greater than an inch of snow accumulation is greatest. 1 to 3 inches of snow possible in the watch area, but I am going to reiterate here, it's going to be a very sharp gradient between who sees nothing, and I mean nothing, and who maybe gets a couple inches of snow. Let's see. What is the winter weather forecast for Savannah for the week? Bill, you have snow and ice in your forecast Tuesday. Let's see. Allegedly, maybe 2.5 or not much. I mean, yeah, there is a range there. We could have an inch of snow, could have a dusting, could just see a couple flurries. Will it be dangerous to drive? In parts of the area, yes. And I would say the risk of dangerous travel, the biggest interruption to travel and to driving, will be generally South Metro, back towards middle Georgia, back towards southeast Georgia. Someone on YouTube, in other words, nobody knows, and the weather guy gets paid anyway. Best job in the world. Completely fail on the forecast and still get paid. Womp womp. Someone's a little bitter on the stream today, and it's just this one person. We're letting you know that it's bitterly cold. Confident about that part of the forecast. We're letting you know that parts of the area will see snow, no doubt about that. But yeah, in weather, there's uncertainty sometimes. So, back 20, 30 years ago, you might have 12 hours notice. You might not even have much confidence in the forecast until it's already snowing. So, it's unfortunate, and actually is the most challenging part of the job, is a setup like this one, where parts of the area, and we cover, more than 50 counties here, parts of the area will see nothing. Parts of the area will see maybe an inch or two of snow, and that dividing line is right over the city of Atlanta, I-85 corridor. I do think that's the dividing line. Again, here's a look at forecast radar. This is just one computer model, but that is a sharp difference between nothing and something. And unfortunately, it is right over the city of Atlanta. Let's see. After the system passes, will spring weather arrive or wait for the groundhog? It's going to be cold immediately after the system, but it will start to warm up next weekend. And allegedly, maybe saying definitely everyone open up your cabinets and faucets and drip. Not a bad idea, especially if you live in an older home or a home with a crawl space underneath. That cold air can really get under the house. And your pipes could freeze, especially if they're older, unwrapped, unprotected. So especially if you're in that part of the area, or if you're in a home, I should say, that type of a home, best to protect the pipes and the faucets, for sure. But everybody wouldn't hurt to wrap and to cover and to drip. I'll wager to say north of Atlanta gets snow while the rest of the area remains freezing. No, this is going to be kind of a south of the area, kind of a weird deal, where it's actually south of the area that has the greatest snow chance, not north of Atlanta. And that's been a consistent trend, and as we've been talking about, that is probably the big signal that we've been talking about on air in streams like this one on Atlanta News First Plus. That's probably been the most consistent signal, is that south of Atlanta actually has the greatest chance of accumulating snow with this particular storm system. Aisha saying looks like it's going to snow on the south side. Yeah, chance of snow is greatest south of Atlanta. Greatest chance of snow is south of Atlanta. Hopefully Cartersville sees at least a trace. Thanks, Lee. That means a lot. Lee Crenshaw up in Cartersville. I'm hoping you at least see some flurries blowing around. We have even some of those today up in Bartow County, Cartersville. Hopefully more of that for you Tuesday if you're a snow weather lover. But I will say the trend's not the best for Bartow County if you want accumulating snow. Not that we can't totally rule it out at this point. Again, sharp line, but the further south and east you go from Interstate 85, the greater your chance of snow. Man, some saucy folks on the stream today. Well, one saucy person. Nolan Moody, will Forsyth County see snow? It's possible you could see some flakes fly, but if you want the type of snow that you had last system, just 7, 10, 12 days ago, I think you should, book an Airbnb down on Lake St. Clair and Lake Oconee. It's going to be harder to get significant accumulations of snow that far north. Not that it's impossible, but not as favorable as last system up in Forsyth County to get accumulating snow that far north. So Nolan, hopefully you got that portion of the forecast. I know you it looks like may have had a new comment come in. So Forsyth County, hard to get accumulating snow that far north, but very well could see some snowflakes blowing around. The further south you go, south and east of I-85, in fact, we can go ahead and draw a line. And again, the further south and east you go in that, I don't want to say, it doesn't matter exactly where you are on the highway, but in general, along and south and east of I-85, this is where the greatest snow potential is. This is where the greatest potential for accumulating snowfall is, and that's been a consistent signal for a couple days, but as some folks have been asking, we could always see this creep northward a little bit, but right now, fairly stout signal that cutoff between nothing and a little bit of accumulation is going to be right over the heart of Metro Atlanta. Cecile asking, will Griffin, Spalding County get some snow? I think you will have a good shot at some snow. Yeah, so Griffin down in Spalding County, I think you will see some snow. And the chance of seeing more than an inch of snow is greater in Griffin and Spalding County than it is in Atlanta. Algernon, Middlebrooks, can Macon see snow? Yes, it will snow in Macon. You're going to get snow accumulation in Macon. Folks asking about Jefferson, Commerce area, again, up that far, you're kind of in the dividing line. If you go back towards Athens, if you go down to Eatonton, your chance of snow greater, but you could see some flakes and could see a dusting. Yeah, so they're saying most important is to keep your water dripping so pipes don't freeze. And newer build homes that have their pipes mostly interior and that are wrapped, protected, and probably better insulated than homes 30, 40 years ago, they might not have as big of a worry, but it never hurts to let your faucet drip, to keep that water flowing. That would keep it from freezing. Never hurts. So yeah, that definitely not a bad idea. What about Smyrna, Cobb County? Unfortunately, you're right on the dividing line, and I would say, the chance of seeing some flakes blowing around are there, but the chance of accumulating snow is much greater well to the south and east of Smyrna. Will Savannah see a lot of snow? Yes, it is looking like Savannah is going to have an impactful winter storm, perhaps more than you even had back in 2018 down in Savannah. Brandon Guy asking about DeKalb County. Again, this is just a snapshot, but this is 5 o'clock Tuesday afternoon, and you can find your county and your community. And DeKalb County, fair bet that you're going to see some snow falling, but unfortunately, you're right on that line. So it wouldn't take much of an adjustment to see that snow line shift to your south or maybe shift just a little bit north. Again, even a 20-mile shift of this dry and miserably cold versus snow and miserably cold line would make a big difference neighborhood by neighborhood across the heart of the metro. Algernon is asking, will Atlanta be upgraded from a winter storm watch to winter storm warning? It is possible they will make that decision, the National Weather Service, tonight into tomorrow. I would say South Metro has a greater chance of being upgraded, for sure. Let's see. What about Paulding County? Paulding County, the chance of snow is a little lower up in that general area. Spalding County, Pike County, Griffin area snow, that chance of snow is greater down there. Let's see, Ted Franklin saying, I understand this is a difficult forecast due to how the bands move. Thanks to all meteorologists. You're very welcome. Thanks for streaming with us here on Atlanta News First Plus. Not just that, but this low is well to our south, and it's so far south that it's going to have a little bit of trouble sending all that moisture this far north. So it's kind of a battle of dry air, and can we get enough moisture to overcome any of that dryness? Can we get enough moisture far enough inland and, north and west rather of I-85 to get significant snow deeper into North Georgia? Man, shady folks, shady person. Daniel Belcher, just like 2014, we have the snow and ice storm. They say it will be south Georgia, but it will move north to Atlanta. Let's hope we don't lie. Folks, there are no lies. There is a lot of certainty in this forecast, but there's also some uncertainty. Tanya, just like we talked about the other night, no one's lying, I promise. We're here streaming. We've been chatting now for 30 minutes, and we're giving you the best knowledge that we have. And if you really watch any local station here across Metro Atlanta, all saying similar thoughts, all scientists working very hard to keep everyone updated. But like 2014, as you mentioned, forecast models do tend to struggle with how far inland moisture can get. They want to keep this moisture well south, but it is possible some of this moisture could get a little bit far north than even this model is indicating. But still, that trend is the same. Unfortunately, this is going to be a South Georgia, Middle Georgia, interior coastal Georgia peak snow event. They will most likely, this is the guarantee, Macon likely to see much more in the way of snow than the city of Atlanta. It's just a setup with this system, unfortunately. But we can't get greedy. We just had snow, 7-10 days ago. We don't always have snow that frequently in the city of Atlanta. Michael Murillo saying, I saw some flurries in the Battery Atlanta a few hours ago. Absolutely, yes. This cold air is dumped in. Been tweeting about it, putting it on Instagram as well. We've had some sleet pellets and snow flurries really around much of the metro, kind of blowing around in the breeze. Nolan Moody, do you think the path could shift for snow in Forsyth County? Are you certain there will be no snow in Forsyth? Forsyth is far enough south to where there is still some uncertainty, and it is still possible you could see snow, but it's unlikely it's going to accumulate all that much. Maybe a dusting up there. When will the snow hit downtown Atlanta? I'm trying to work from home the rest of the week. Help me out, bro. Downtown Atlanta, I would say before the evening commute. Just as the evening commute is getting going, that is when the risk of snow will increase in downtown Atlanta. Tuesday morning, dry, but after lunchtime, getting into the afternoon, especially by early evening, the risk of snow in Atlanta will be steadily increasing. Is Athens going to get a lot of snow? Really depends on what you think a lot is. I would say, are you going to get 6 inches of snow, very, very, very unlikely. Could you get an inch of snow? That's very possible. There is also some uncertainty in Carroll County. I would say if you live up in the North Georgia mountains, fairly certain that you all will not see significant snow by mountain standards with this system. But any of our adjacent I-85 counties, basically if you're anywhere near that top red line that stretches from southwest Randolph County all the way up to Barrow Banks County, if you're anywhere near that line in south and east, chance of snow in the forecast. Will this affect Augusta? Yes, I would say Augusta has a greater chance of snow than the city of Atlanta. Michael Murillo, is it going to snow during rush hour? It is possible, yes, that it could snow during rush hour and that roadway conditions could go downhill through the course of rush hour Tuesday. Let's see. Man, I don't know what to do. Can't do anything right with this one person. I guess I need to stop addressing, but I mean, man, it's comment after comment. I promise we're trying as hard as we can. We are doing our best, but, there is a little bit of uncertainty. And, I don't like uncertainty either. I wish I could tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt that a specific solution was going to happen. But, unfortunately, that's just not the case with this system. But I do think as we get into tomorrow morning, we'll start to have more clarity and more certainty in the first alert forecast. Folks can be frustrated, with weather. A lot of folks have plans. Tomorrow's a holiday. Tuesday is like the Monday of this coming work week. So it's especially tricky to try to make plans, but we're within 48 hours or so of this occurring. But with this type of a setup, there is more uncertainty than normal. Again, we know it's going to be cold enough. We know it's going to be snow where it does snow. We're not worried about sleet, not worried about freezing rain, not going to happen. But how far north this band of snow gets is going to be especially uncertain, more so even than normal. Let's see, Neil Realty. Let's see, can't really understand. Let's see. Trinity Clark, you could see some snow up in Marietta-Cobb County, but unfortunately you're in that area. In fact, I think the best way to draw this, for folks that are streaming, we're just going to draw it out here. If you live in this area, this is the most uncertain part of the forecast, right within those red lines. In fact, I'm going to just, type it out here so hopefully you can see it. You don't just have to listen because I know a lot of you are busy. It's a Sunday. But I think visually that's probably the best way to watch and to listen and to kind of understand what's going on with the forecast. So if you live in this red area, there is more uncertainty within those red lines. How far north does that band of snow get? We know that far northwest Georgia, going towards Chattanooga, likely to remain mostly dry. I mean, you're going to be lucky to see snowflakes if you're that far north and west. If you're up in the far north Georgia mountains, northeast Georgia mountains, also likely to remain pretty dry. Brutally cold, but dry. And then within those red lines, big-time questions. How far north can that snow get? If you're watching from Upson County, if you're watching from Lamar County down towards Macon, if you're watching from Macon, if you're watching from Lake St. Clair and Oconee area, Putnam County, chance of snow much greater down there than even in the city of Atlanta. Thanks, Blake H. Thanks for watching. Let's see. Michael Murillo, will the water freeze in Lake Lanier? Not the whole lake, of course, but actually, even with this last event, Michael, that's a good question. Some of the ponds, shallower ponds, did have a thin coating of ice all the way over them, and it's possible in this setup that we could see some of our, very shallow, small ponds see some ice all the way across. Not that you can safely walk on, not that you can safely fish on or anything like that, but it's possible we could see some ice in those sorts of water setups. But on the lakes, adjacent to the shore, within a couple feet of the shore, certainly could be some ice. But will there be any, significant ice all across the lake? No, that's not in the cards this go around. Algernon, you're very welcome. Kevin Rivera asking about Lawrenceville up in Gwinnett County. Again, if you're in these two lines, unfortunately, that does include Lawrenceville. Extra emphasis on the uncertainty with this portion of the forecast. Just not sure how far inland, how far north this snow is going to get. In general, the lowest chance of snow is up in Calhoun, and the greatest chance of snow is in Thomaston and in Eatonton. It's not like the last system where we knew there would be more than enough moisture. And we knew that there would be some snow and some sleet and wintry weather, Actually, more questions this go around just because the air is dry. It's brutally cold, certainly cold enough for snow, but it's going to be hard to get moisture that far inland, far enough inland to bring significant snow to the city of Atlanta. Asking about Blairsville, Tammy Garrett asking about Blairsville, Georgia. Tammy up in Blairsville, you will be brutally cold. We're talking lows near single digits, wind chills below 0. However, the risk of snow, the chance of snow in Blairsville is much lower this time than with the last system, and it's possible you're completely dry. Waffle Holler asking accumulating snow for Spalding County. I would say, the chance of 1 to 2 inches, pretty solid bet. 1 to 2 inches down in Spalding County. Jack Solomon asking, how often have we seen systems like this shift north just off of my experience? I would say, honestly, an example, as Tanya brought up earlier, is going to be 2014. It's been a while since we've had, 2014 was kind of another coastal low with most of the snow to our south, but enough in the city to cause some problems. 2018 was another example. However, that really never shifted that far inland. There were no real surprises with the similar setup in 2018, and here we are in 2025 with another coastal low, brutally cold weather, but questions as to how far north that dry versus its snowing line gets into North Georgia. Trinity Clark saying, thanks for explaining it, but I pray we get 2 inches of snow northwest metro Atlanta. Hey, I'm praying too. I hope you get 2 inches of snow up on the northwest side as well, but unfortunately, big time uncertainty that far north and west. I would say it's going to be less likely you see 2 inches of snow that far north and west. Fatam Mursal asking about downtown. I would say up to about an inch is possible, but there's going to be a sharp gradient. Sandy Springs could have a different picture than, say, Morrow or Jonesboro or, Panthersville, South DeKalb. Even that little bit of a mileage there, that's only 10, 15, max 20 miles. And there could be a big difference as to what you're seeing. Edward Marquis saying, we need Snowmageddon again now that I'm retired. That's a hard no. Hopefully we can avoid that. And I think that we're all very aware of how minor changes in the forecast can create big changes with roadway conditions. So thankfully, response and preparation this go around is going to be very good. So even if we do see the snow sneak northward, not looking at a roadway setup like that, and I think that people are heeding, the uncertainty and paying attention to the uncertainty, but not playing with fire, and they're making appropriate decisions for their students, their staff, and decisions like that. And in 2018, it did not really slide north. 2014, it did, but we'll just have to see how 2025 goes. Again, no two setups are exactly the same. Forecast models get better and better and better, and I will say dew points right now are in the single digits. Very dry outside, chap lips already, right? And so it's going to be a little harder. Signs are it's going to be harder for the snow to make it that far north, but something we will need to keep an eye on as well. What is the possibility snow could move further north? There's no real percentage. I would say that the chance of getting more than an inch of snow in Calhoun or Rome or Dawsonville or Blairsville, very, very low. Not worth banking on at this time. Trinity Clark, hey, is the Canadian model still viable or Euro? Should we go back at this point? Canadian model really isn't ever that viable. It's always going to be a little too cold, a little too snowy. Case in point, it said our low tomorrow morning was going to be like 8 degrees, 11 degrees. Just not going to be the case. And even that model has trended further south with those big-time snow totals that we've been seeing. It's never one model that we put all of our, and that we invest completely in is what I'm trying to say. It's more about using the models as tools, but also looking at what's actually happening with the weather, and that's how we kind of put together that forecast. Our World to Dream, Augusta, Georgia. I would say a solid bet of 1 to 3. Over in Augusta, you will see some snow. Let's see, Michael Murillo asking, is this El Nino or La Nina? It is a weak La Nina. We've been in kind of neutral, just cooler than average kind of neutral conditions, but now officially La Nina. Can I talk about McDonough? McDonough, you could see 1 to 2 inches of snow, and a fair bet you will at least see the snowflakes flying. Also more of a late morning, afternoon risk down in Henry County, McDonough. Let's see. Help any stray animals, please. Protect your pets. As folks have been asking, if you can, bring them in. It's going to be not just cold, but exceptionally cold. Keep in mind, huskies and some breeds probably love this weather. So it really just depends. But make good choices with your home, your property. Make sure that's taken care of. Make sure those that maybe don't have great heating or live in older homes are are staying warm and that they have extra blankets, or then, invite them over, invite those loved ones over. If you know that they're not really ready to be by themselves, the elderly, those with health conditions that make them more susceptible in extremely cold weather, just make sure that you are looking out for them. Give them a call. Make sure they're staying warm enough. Cody down in Columbus, it's going to snow, and I would say 1 to 3 is a good bet. Carlos Sullivan asking, will it warm up again? Too gloomy for me. It is gloomy. Tomorrow will be brutally cold, but ironically, Carlos, tomorrow's going to be sunny. Lots of sunshine tomorrow. Brutally cold, but sunny. And then as we get into Thursday, Friday, still very chilly, but we are going to start to warm back up across North Georgia and Metro Atlanta later this week. Asking about Griffin. Michael Murillo asking if he can walk his dog tomorrow morning. If you do, it's going to just bundle up. Make sure you're both staying warm. Wind chills in the single digits to near zero, depending on where you are. But the core of the metro, single digits to near zero, below zero wind chills up in the mountains. Let's see. Tanya, some models have Atlanta 1 to 5 degrees. Why wind chills in the single digits. That's kind of what has prompted that extreme cold warning. So brutally cold tonight into tomorrow. Amira, no worries. Saying sorry for asking again. What are the chances of school being closed in Gwinnett County? That's a human decision. It's not even solely based on the forecast. It's about timing, resources, buses, so many things. And I think we will have to see right now. I hate to say this, but it's kind of a 50-50. We're going to have to see how the next 24 hours go with any trends with this storm system. Of course, tomorrow is a holiday. APS sent texts and phone calls last week saying they were monitoring weather conditions. Every county school district is. And I would say that they would probably make that call by tomorrow evening or tomorrow afternoon, letting folks know what their decision is for Tuesday. What is Paulding County snow? So Paulding County, you're kind of near or adjacent to that uncertain area. I would say the chance of more than an inch of snow, northwest side, is going to be lower. Douglasville, similar. Also, the chance of more than an inch of snow. It's not zero in Douglasville, but it is lower. What is the percentage of snow happening in Lawrenceville? I would say there's a chance you'll see some snow falling, but if you're asking about an inch or more of snow, still a pretty low chance. We're going to have to watch to see how the setup evolves here over the next 24 hours. My weather app says 5% chance of precip in Henry County. It seems like a lot of discrepancies. Do you know why? Amanda, which day are you referring to? And probably because that's pulling from a single forecast model rather than using models simply as tools, but also just looking at what's happening, actually happening and what the computer's missing. Most likely your weather app may be pulling from a forecast model solely and completely, and that's going to lead to some wild swings in the forecast. Case in point, they didn't have any chance of flurries, some of them today, and we saw some sleet pellets, some snow flurries. In fact, quite a few reports even today of some very light snow flurries blowing around. First Alert weather app is a great tool to have, though. We have an updated forecast video. We update the forecast ourselves. We send you video updates, not just give you the forecast, but give you a bit of an explanation as to why things are happening and what could change. That's the First Alert weather app. Again, to search Atlanta News First or First Alert Weather in your app or Google Play Store. Amanda Wallace asking about Carrollton. Carrollton is unfortunately in that uncertain area. The further south you go, case in point, LaGrange has a better snow this go around than Carrollton does, Amanda, but something we're watching closely for you. The chance of more than an inch of snow is not all that great right now, but we could see some shifting. We'll have to keep an eye on it. Let's see. Michael saying might be school snow starts after school hours. Well, with the timing, again, let's roll it back here. We're likely to begin dry Tuesday. So notice how we're dry at 7 a.m. We're dry at 10 a.m. This forecast model has us dry at noon, though some others are a little earlier with the arrival. But in general, this is more of a later day snow chance right as folks are starting to, if this was a normal Tuesday with no bad weather, we would just be starting to get out of school and hitting the roadways to head home just as the snow begins. So timing is uncertain. So they would unlikely, if you're asking about school decisions, it's unlikely that they would just do a delay. If anything, they would release well early or just not have school at all with the anticipation of weather going downhill in the afternoon and evening. Tammy Garrett, thank you. Those kind of words mean a lot watching from Blairsville. And again, you're going to be brutally cold. Wish you all up there had snow to go along with the brutally cold, though I know those mountain roadways, secondary roads. I have a friend up in Fannin County, Blue Ridge, still pretty rough. Even with the rain we had a couple days ago, and now temperatures back below freezing, all refreezing once again. I wish I could bring you some more snow-capped mountains up there, but unfortunately it looks like most of this is going to stay well to your south. Folks asking about Macon. The chance of snow in Macon is much greater even than the city of Atlanta. Significant snow is in the forecast for Macon. Could see, 1 to 3 is a solid bet. Could get a little more than 3 in a couple of spots. What time will it snow in Cobb County? So the snow in Cobb County is not a certainty. It's not a will it snow, it's more still of an if it will snow. But I would say that timing is greater after 3 p.m. If it's going to snow mid-afternoon, your chances will start to increase. So in general, the further north and west you go across the metro, further north you go across North Georgia, the less of a chance you have of seeing accumulating snow. Kind of unusual, but it does happen at times, and we've seen setups like this before. Some ended up delivering some snow to Atlanta, others did not. So just something to keep in mind that this is kind of an uncertain forecast in parts of the area. Folks asking about Hogansville down in Troup and Heard County. The chance of snow down there is greater than the city of Atlanta, and 1 to 2 inches is a safe bet, kind of a first guess, but something we will have to watch here over the next 24 hours or so. Kendall Grace Hunter, what's a good weather app? I am partial, I will say, but the First Alert weather app is a great tool. Just search Atlanta News First for First Alert weather. If you're in the immediate city of Atlanta area, all of that forecast personally done and even away from the city of Atlanta, but we still have to use models to make sure everyone gets a proper and accurate forecast. But what's most important, and I think what is the best feature in the First Alert weather app, is the fact that you will get updated videos, not only giving context to the forecast, but letting you know what could change and when it might change, giving you that first alert and keeping you up to date in the First Alert forecast. Again, First Alert weather app, free, easy, and you can get as many alerts or as few alerts as you want. The app is completely customizable. Just search Atlanta News First or First Alert weather in your app or Google Play Store. But if you're looking for a local weather app, so Bent says WeatherBug, that is another option as well. But if you're looking for one that exclusively is solely focused on Atlanta and North Georgia, though the forecast, you can get it anywhere in the app. Even if you're traveling to London, technically you can get that forecast in the First Alert weather app. It is a good tool to have, just because you're talking with meteorologists, not just looking at the forecast. And see, this is an acceptable joke. Jay says, if you want to know if it's going to snow on Tuesday, tune in on Wednesday. That's funny. I mean, we can take some jokes. That's funny. It is funny. We have to be lighthearted in a setup like this, because this in particular, with those lines I've drawn on this map, if you live within those 2 red lines, square at the Metro Atlanta, that is the most uncertain part of this forecast. North and west, more confident. South and east, more confident. Smack in between, we're just going to have to see exactly how far north this band of snow can get. Michael asking any power outages with this system. It is looking unlikely. No real risk of ice. We're talking snow and probably a drier, more powdery snow at that. So not as much weight on trees and power lines. So with the winds we're having today, we have had some spotty outages. But if you're asking about Tuesday, not much of a contribution to that, at least snow-wise. Jaden Griffin, will it snow in Athens? I would say there's a greater chance of snow in Athens than there is in Atlanta, but within those 2 red lines, there's uncertainty as to what you see and exactly how much accumulates. I would say the chance of at least seeing those flurries, those flakes blown around, it's in the forecast. Again, another question about Athens. Kenneth Lewis saying this is 1982 weather map all over again. Not necessarily, and what's nice is forecast models, the data we use, while they're not perfect, as we've been talking about here, they are far better than what they were in 1982. And the setup is a little bit different, but you're correct. There are some similarities, especially with the 2014 event. It only takes 20, 30, 40 miles for the snow to get further north, and we're talking about more accumulation in Atlanta. So with that said, again, we're talking about timing here, and I think I have another map that might also help explain what we're tracking, what we're watching. If you are in white, this is where your chance of an inch of snow is greatest. If you're not in white, the chance of an inch of snow or more, an inch of snow or more, should say, is lesser. It's lower. Michael asking, my grandparents returned to Hawaii Tuesday at 7 p.m. Will their flight be delayed? It's very possible there will be flight delays, yes. Killing time on YouTube. What about Columbus, Georgia? Snow is a sure thing and probably a significant snow. First bet, safe bet 1 to 3, but some are going to see 4 to 5, especially, south and east of Columbus, south of Columbus, should say, going back towards, Albany, Georgia, and then west towards Dothan, Alabama, those areas. Hello, Caleb. Ethan O'Leary, thanks for tuning in and for watching. Looks like questions. After really getting up there, I've calmed down just a little bit. Trinity Clark, hey, is Georgia so hard to predict weather-wise? Northwest Metro Atlanta is always hard to predict. Why is that? Well, it's not. Sometimes we are pretty certain. Like last winter storm, there's always some uncertainty. There always will be. With extreme weather events like this, there's always going to be a little bit of uncertainty. But I would say in general, the weather is trickier even in other parts of the country. But when you have 2 storm systems that are highly unusual back to back, and you have anomalously cold air, and it's also a setup that forecast models tend to struggle with. That's kind of the reason for some uncertainty. And it's not just here. It's really across much of the Mid-South and the Southeast with this particular setup. Ragnid, I just went outside and wrapped my water spigot because the temperature is plummeting super fast. It is. It absolutely is. Temperature is already below freezing in spots. Hard freeze. That's a guarantee. What about Douglasville? Again, probably best to, I want you to find your county and your community on this map. In general, Douglasville, much like Atlanta, you're right on that line. I would say generally chance of less than an inch of snow is greater than chance of more than an inch of snow. For folks asking about Blue Ridge, Bannon County, the chance of accumulating snow on Tuesday is much, much lower. You're more likely to be just cold, maybe some clouds, and mostly dry. Vanessa saying, I'm in Canada on vacation, think I will stay another week. I'm sure it's even colder up there, right? Maybe, I guess it depends on what part of Canada you're in. Arthur asking about Blue Ridge again. Blue Ridge is less likely to see snow even than Atlanta, and Atlanta is less likely to see snow than Macon. Mountains, for the most part, look to miss the majority of this particular event. Algernon asking any rough travel where snow falls. Yes, snow will be, temperatures are going to be cold enough to stick. In fact, someone asked to look at high temperatures or temperatures for tomorrow, and this is the reason why we know whatever falls Tuesday, it'll stick, and it'll stick quick. It really won't take that much to get snow and ice to stick on area roadways, and that's because temperatures are going to be brutally cold leading up to this event. High temperatures tomorrow, Atlanta 33, 24 in Ellijay, 33 Helen, 28 Canton, 39 Eaton, 35 in Thomaston, 31 Carrollton, 30 in Rome. These are high temperatures tomorrow, so many spots will stay colder than freezing. And that's, of course, going to cool our roadway temperature. So as soon as that snow starts, where it does fall Tuesday, that risk of snow sticking is going to be much, much greater. More snow south of ATL through central Georgia. Absolutely, that is true. Edward is saying Ricola. Actually, that is so funny. I actually do have cough drops. And, hey, sign of the weather, right? It's cold. And folks are sick, and now we have snow in the forecast. Talk about January stuff, right? Middle of winter, heart of winter, everyone's sick, and the weather is cold. That's the guarantee. Algernon, any power outages? The risk of power outages on Tuesday is lower. We're not worried about freezing rain and ice on trees. We're not even really worried about sleet, kind of a drier, powdery snow potential in parts of North Georgia, so the risk of outages Tuesday lower. In fact, I would say the risk of spotty outages today a little bit greater with the wind that we have blowing around. Let's see. Is Canton going to get any snow? You're kind of in that dividing line. We'll kind of take it back to this other map here for you. And we're going to bring it up to 5 p.m. Tuesday with that chance of snow moving in. And if you're anywhere within this kind of rough line, this is where there is more uncertainty in the forecast. And we don't have, I would say the chance of more than an inch of snow is very, very low up in Canton. In fact, you might just see a couple flurries and be mostly dry up in Canton. Now, if you're in Thomaston, if you're in Covington, if you're in Eatonton, if you're in Macon, pretty sure bet, especially Macon, there's going to be significant accumulating snow. So hopefully that sufficed. A lot of weather to talk about. Want to remind you, you can always reach out on social media and give me a holler if you have any other questions, comments, concerns. We will be back tonight. Unfortunately, there's no 6:30 newscast today. CBS covered us up. We're preempted, but we are still here. We're keeping the updated First Alert weather app. Also streaming on Atlanta News First Plus. Next stream will be at 8 p.m. And we will be having a chat much like this one. Probably won't be too much of a change between this forecast and that one. Then we will have another data cycle or two. We'll have a look at temperatures, how they're trending versus what forecast models were saying they were going to do. So certainly some more data, but I don't expect any huge changes in the forecast between now and 8 p.m. And again, thank you all for tuning in and for watching. Hopefully everyone has a good evening. Jack Solomon, last comment here. Is there a difference in an inch of powdery snow and the snow we got last week? Yes, Jack. So here's the deal. It'll take less moisture with this weather setup to produce snow. So it'll take, because the air is so cold, it'll take very, very little moisture to produce an inch of snow. And that's another complicating part, Jack, of this forecast. Does Atlanta see 2/100ths of an inch of liquid precipitation that would equal about, 4/10ths of an inch, a half an inch of snow? Ish. Is that possible? 2/100ths of an inch this far out, that's a difficult forecast. So the fact that the air is dry, it's more of a powdery snow. It'll take less moisture to get snow, which is a good thing if you want snow, but it also does complicate the forecast as well. And again, thank you all for streaming, for watching. Shan Smith asking how much could Spalding County possibly get? I would say 1 to 2 is a safe bet, but there is some uncertainty there. I would say you're far enough south. The odds of snow greater than the city of Atlanta, and certainly much greater than North Metro. Now is when I miss living in Helen. This go around, Helen actually has a lesser chance of snow than Macon. And for someone asked about areas further south, Macon, Savannah, Albany, widespread winter weather is in the First Alert forecast. I mean, we'll be taking a more expanded view of the forecast as we get into the 8 o'clock stream, ANF Plus tonight at 8 p.m., talking more impacts, not just locally, we'll do that again as well, but also tonight at 8, looking at Savannah, at Albany, Valdosta over to New Orleans, even Houston, Southeast Texas. That's where the system really starts to have an impact, is Texas. And then that system spreads eastward through the course of our Monday night, our Tuesday, and then kind of up the East Coast. North Carolina, South Carolina, the Carolinas could even be dealing with some heavier snow. Coastal Carolinas Wednesday morning. So again, I want to thank you for tuning in and for watching. We'll leave you with a cold look at Atlanta. We are having a few snow flurries, sleet pellets even out there today. And it's cold, dangerously cold. Tonight into tomorrow morning, if you have Martin Luther King Jr. Day plans, taking you outside, please, please, please bundle up tomorrow morning. Spend as much time as you can indoors because it's going to be dangerously cold. Extreme cold warning in effect for Northwest Metro, including the city of Atlanta, and a cold weather advisory in effect further to the south and southeast. And then we get to Tuesday. That risk of snow still in the forecast, especially south side. Next stream tonight, Atlanta News First Plus.